Oh wait, is there anything in our mention? Not mentioned. Held? Are we held? Nothing's held. Damn. Come on, someone be racist.
We got to start pissing off more people, man.
Just poking YouTube with a stick. Be racist.
You know you want to.
You know you want to.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
Is this our like special like Christmas episode, even though it's like coming out like a couple of days after Christmas, I think? So it's like
yeah, but that means you can watch the movie on Christmas and then join us afterwards.
You can watch Muppet Christmas Carol any fucking time of the year because Muppet Christmas Carol rules. Okay.
Dude, Muppet Christmas Carol is the fucking best, and I cannot believe it's taken us like 4 years to put it on the show.
Just real quick, Muppet Christmas Carol. Did you see what its Rotten Tomatoes score is?
Oh no.
Muppet Christmas Carol only has a 77% of Rotten Tomatoes. 23%ers, I will fight you. What? I will beat you with Tiny Tim's fucking cane. What are you doing? What movie did you watch? How could you downvote this movie, dude? Michael Caine dropping a fucking Oscar-worthy performance with the heckin' Muppets, man. Like it's amazing.
What is the audience score is 86 though.
Yeah, the audience understands the assignment. Like why how are you downvoting the Muppet Christmas Carol? Because first of all, it's Michael Caine. Second of all, it's the Muppets, and then it's the Christmas Carol story, which is like one of the best stories ever written. Like,
yeah, we're gonna get into it, but
what is there to downvote?
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, but this is like a perfect movie. How could you fucking downvote? It's a perfect adaptation, at least.
Yeah, like
on Metacritic, it's got a 64, but the user score, and I've never seen this verbiage before. The user score is 8.3, which is categorized as universal acclaim.
Goddamn right. Yeah, I just saw that and I was like, because if you put a gun to my head and been like, Jeff, what is the Rotten Tomatoes score for Muppet Christmas Carol? This would have been like a 95%er to me, because why wouldn't it be? But yeah, I think it's probably like the record for us, the quickest time to actually talk about the movie, but I just saw that. It pissed me off, dude, because I fucking love this movie. But yeah. Before we circle back around to more Muppet Christmas Carol.
Excuse me?
Oh, what did you find?
Vastly enjoyable despite the syrupy, soppy song bit in the middle. Are they talking about Christmas Present?
Dude, we're gonna Jay and Silent Bob hunt those fuckers down. Like, you give me a name.
What is okay? Okay, I understand Jim Henson did Sesame Street, so that this is not me playing off of that, but apparently the word of the day was soggy. The Muppets are at their best when they're, I don't even know this word. What is this word? Anarchic? Without all the soggy whimsy. Is there another one with soggy? Is that the watchword today? Is that the watchword for this episode? Soggy?
The password is soggy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was just stunned by that. But before we talk about some more Muppet Christmas Carol for today, we start off every episode each week with a little Q&A section that everyone loves. So Ron, would you like to kick off some questions for us and comments?
All right. So on our last episode, Crimson Tide, Bobby was very active.
Hell yeah.
The ever enigmatic intern Bobby, executive intern.
This felt like a Bobby movie, so that doesn't surprise me. Like, I need Bobby to comment on the next upload if he had seen Crimson Tide and if he digs it, because Crimson Tide comes across to me like an old school Bobby movie. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet he still hasn't seen it, because that's just the way Bobby rolls. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. He said, again, context is an issue for me because this has been a while. But you both would skip watching the movie and just be bullshitting the whole time. So I think he's saying just never mind the movie. We just do a whole bullshit episode.
We talked about it in the Crimson Tide episode. I forget what the exact like lead up to it was, but we talked about how funny it would be if we each just said we watched the movie and
but
then just
didn't.
phoned it in. Oh, I think it was in response to how we were talking about how I bullshitted my way through reading Great Expectations. And then we were like talking about how what if we just did a recording without, like actually having seen the movie to see if we could bullshit our way through it. I think that's the lead up to it.
Was it on Crimson Tide or was it even on microphone when we were talking about one of us just like not watching the movie and seeing how long we can string the other one along, thinking we had?
Yeah. I can't remember. Fuck, dude.
I don't know. I've slept and not slept. It's confusing.
Yeah, my brain is fucking cooked.
But he also says, and it's on the list, you better be choosing Muppet Treasure Island next.
Nice.
Have you seen Muppet Treasure Island?
I have. I remember nothing about it though, because it's been like 25 years since I've seen it.
Okay. Let me say this sentence to you. I started to count the words and it was too long. Tim Curry as Long John Silver.
I was thinking this was the one with Tim Curry in it. Yeah. I'm sold. Yeah, you didn't even tell me who he was playing. Tim Curry can play whoever the fuck he wants because he's Tim goddamn Curry.
And the parrot on his shoulder is a Muppet.
Goddamn right it is. I fucking love Tim Curry.
It's incredible. And he also acts his ass off. But he's right at home, whereas Michael Caine is a juxtaposition to the Muppets, and it's great. Bobby goes on. You didn't fulfill your SPR bingo card. I'm wondering if that means we didn't make any Dark Souls references or Bloodborne references.
I think we failed the bingo because of like my initial reaction to that comment was also I don't think we ever talked about Dark Souls, so that is a record. I
don't think we mentioned South Park either.
Well, South Park sometimes isn't like South Park is the more rare one on the bingo card. Dark Souls I feel like gets mentioned basically every episode, or Bloodborne. But that's a rare occurrence to not hit the like the square with the Dark Souls / Bloodborne reference.
And then finally he signs off with no Scrooge McDuck love, to which I replied, woo.
You cut out partially during that for me, which made it even funnier because all I heard was woo.
Discord's like, oh no.
It gets Scrooge McFucked. Oh man. So if you would like a comment or prompt to read by Ron and myself, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com or drop it in the YouTube comment section of the next upload, or whichever upload that you happen to be on, because we like I'm assuming you like kind of sort by newest comments, not just in the new episode, right?
Correct.
That's what I was thinking. I think you told me that before, but
again, I go within the last 14 days is what I look at, up to the most recent one I remember us talking about. I think we covered one twice because I was like, I think we talked about this. It's like 15 days old, but we're also recording it late, and I don't know anymore.
Our schedule the last few weeks has been a fucking shit show of like recording. We went like a month of recording everything in advance, and everything was great. 2
episodes is a month.
Yeah. We recorded some shit in advance, and we like angered the universe, and it's been a shit show ever since.
Yep.
So this one we're recording kind of in advance, or like on time.
Yeah, this one's more on time.
So now I don't know what is on time and what's in advance and what's late. So I just like whatever. I'll just show up and I'll fucking bullshit about the movie. I'll yell about the score on Rotten Tomatoes and how much people are idiots that work for that aggregate. And we'll call it a day.
What I'm waiting for is the day that like I'm not aware that we're recording late. So I put out the episode a week late, not even knowing, thinking it's on time. That's the one I'm waiting for.
Yeah, we'd hear about it from Bobby.
Yeah, because he literally text messages us.
I mean, he's the executive producer / intern / whatever new job we have for him this week of the podcast. So, yeah.
Whatever new job we have.
Whatever new demotion / promotion. We have gone.
Lateral moves are fine.
Prisoners with jobs.
Prisoners with jobs. Whoa, no, I don't like that word. The prisoners with jobs are escaping.
By the way, did you see that YouTube video that Bobby had sent us earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday? I don't fucking know. But it was like two types of celebrities they get recognized at the football game, and the first one was DiCaprio, who was just like kind of annoyed, not really paying attention, and then it cuts to Goldblum, and Goldblum is just like he does like the hand heart signal, and he's like dancing and he's having a blast, and I just adore that dude.
No one enjoys Jeff Goldblum more than Jeff Goldblum.
Right? I fucking
that
love that
man
dude so
loves
much.
being himself.
Man, love him.
And it's weird. I went on a recent tear of like early Jeff Goldblum and then going through Jurassic Park and stuff. And it's like that Jeff Goldblum that we know today doesn't really show up until Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like there's pieces of him there. And then at Jurassic Park, he just realized, oh, this is what sells.
How much of like modern crazy Goldblum was in The Fly? I don't remember much of it. I remember him just being like a little bit eccentric because that's what his character was, but not like full blown like Goldblum.
If you only grew up knowing post Jurassic Park Goldblum, you probably wouldn't recognize him.
Yeah, because he and like in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's what I was trying to think of. Thank you. I was sitting here like, not pod people, not pod people, not pod people. I could not think of the name of the movie. Yeah, and he's very much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. And then at one point he was like, wait, people will pay me to just be me, like me? And that's what you get. I'm okay with that because I fucking love Jeff Goldblum. It's like, whatever, man.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's incredible.
Yeah. Man, love him so much. Was that our last question, though, that we had?
That was it.
All right. So we're going to segue back into more yelling about people that don't understand the brilliance of the Muppet Christmas Carol, because this is probably my favorite Christmas movie, and I don't think it's particularly close. I know like a lot of people have others that are probably more recognized as like some of the best Christmas movies, but this is my favorite one.
This is one of my favorite works of literature. This is one of my all-time, or is my all-time favorite Christmas story.
Agreed.
And this is the Muppet version is my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think I'm agreed on all accounts. Because I am a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas stuff. I am not a big Christmas person just in general. But when it comes to this movie, it just works for me. And it's like such an accomplishment. Like by the end of it, I don't know how you feel about it, but like because of like the tone of it and the acting and everything.
I'm in the
like,
mood for Christmas when it's over.
I feel like trying to be a better person at the end of it, which is like I'm not even kidding. It makes you the last like 20 minutes after his turn to become a better person. Spoilers for Christmas Carol. Yeah, it legitimately makes me have like a more positive reaction to Christmas because over time, you know, like you get burned out by it. And I feel like because of the way this story like plays out, I'm talking about like the original like Charles Dickens story, like the way he was writing it, I almost wonder if like he himself kind of had this reaction to it where I feel like almost everyone does. It's like the older you get, the more you start to get disenchanted by it. You know,
right.
You start to like how much of this movie's focus is on like financial issues around people at the holidays, which is it's true. Like it is an incredibly stressful time of the year when it's supposed to be like the most joyous time of the year. It's like it's easy to become disenchanted and focus on the negatives of it, but there is a lot of positivity behind this holiday, but it's just surrounded and fucking flooded by capitalism and how we've kind of spiraled into focusing on it's everybody's birthday and we're only focusing on like what we're buying for each other as opposed to like the true spirit of the holiday, which is like helping people, not specifically the financial aspects of buying shit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Charles Dickens himself like had the kind of like Scrooge character arc of like becoming very, very bitter about it, and then over time realizing like you can focus on the like the positive aspects of this and try to be like a pivotal change in people's lives and like a more positive influence on other people around you, and it's just like a mindset thing. It's like that's all it is. It's a fucking mindset thing.
This is one of the few Christmas movies that I have seen that the entire point of the movie is to not only be a good person at Christmas time, but to carry that forward all year long.
Yeah.
Usually it's about people turning around like at Christmas, or it's all of a sudden, it's around Christmas time, I got to go start volunteering at the homeless shelter or something. Like, no, you can do that stuff all year long. It doesn't have to be just a certain time of the year. And
yeah, it's not supposed to be an obligation. It's meant to be like a daily mindset.
Yes, exactly. And the song, the soppy song in the middle, the soggy song in the middle, one of the things that I love about that song so much is that they are literally singing about how you're supposed to carry that forward all year long. And the other day, we were in the car, and I asked my wife, why is it every single Christmas song is either super churchy, super horny, or both? Like,
dude, I forget which one it is. Because I fucking can't stand 99% of Christmas songs.
Yeah, I can't either.
I also think it's bullshit that after like we had 10 of them, we just stopped making them.
Right.
So now we're just permanently in this fucking hellscape of the same 6 songs that have been played to death for fucking 80 years. And it makes me hate them even more because it's just like fucking nails. Like, I feel so bad for people that work in retail that are subjected to that shit playing on a loop over the work radio, you know? Like
I worked at a bank and it was nonstop.
Oh my God, it's the worst. Yeah, can't stand it.
And you can't blame them because it takes zero effort because it's the same 10 songs. If you and I put out a Christmas album right now, even with our shitty lack of talent, it would make money because it is a Christmas album and you didn't have to write the songs. You didn't have to do anything creative. You can't blame them for putting out the same 10 songs again and again when it makes money. You know,
play that same song.
Right?
Man,
I don't know. It's frustrating. By the way, I want to take this moment. One of the all-time best Christmas songs out there that encapsulates everything we were talking about is Another Christmas Song by Stephen Colbert. It is fake right-wing pundit Colbert from Comedy Central realizing that someone has to write Christmas songs and that they always make money. So, like, it's about how he's writing a Christmas song to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the lyrics is literally "Make it part of your Christmas canon, make it part of my make it part of my retirement planning." Like, it's the whole thing that he ends. The last line of the song is copyright Stephen Colbert. It's really good. It's really funny.
Yeah, and that's to say, like, I can't stand most traditional Christmas songs.
It's a swing song too to even top it off.
Nice. Yeah, I fucking love the songs in this movie. Anyone that doesn't like the songs in this movie doesn't have a fucking soul. It's like you fucking need to be haunted by some goddamn spirits, dude.
Especially Christmas Past.
Yeah. Oh my God. What? That was my favorite thing, dude. You know how I was saying, like, I believe it was last year, it might have been the year before, but whichever the last 2 years had that one weekend where like everyone just happened to be watching this movie and it was going around on Twitter. Like, it was like I think it was a Saturday evening, like second to last week of December, last year, the year before, where Muppet Christmas Carol was like top 5 trending on Twitter. Everyone just happened to be watching it, and every other post was about how that fucking puppet design is like from Hellraiser, dude. Like, what is that design? Why is it so creepy? It's so much more creepy than the Ghost of Christmas Is Yet to Come.
It's a little bit more creepy than even the Ghost of Christmas Past in the story, because that's a fucking candle.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, you see that thing in like one of the fucking one of the tapes in Sinister, dude. Like, it's not okay. It's so creepy looking.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
it doesn't bother me as much as it seems to everyone else, probably because I've been watching this movie since I was a kid. But
Yeah, it did this time because I was prepared for it. It didn't bother me when I was watching it last time for the first time in a few years, and I kind of forgotten about how nightmarish it was. I was like, oh god, I was taken aback by how just absolutely terrifying it is, and how that like Ghost of Christmas Present just like he's a solid bro, and then you got the fucking hellscape fuel.
what I was gonna
Oh my
ask
God.
you is Christmas Past like underwater when they filmed it? How did they get the floating effect on the roads?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It
It-
is a very eerie effect.
It looks like it's underwater.
Yeah.
Like you remember in 300 the what's the word I'm looking for? The lady that they go to.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like the Oracle
The
type.
Oracle's the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for. She's in a tank of water
Mhm.
in that scene. So when like her clothes were floating and everything the same way, that's what made me think of it. Like, is that puppet underwater? Is there someone with their hand in a water tank, like operating this puppet?
Yeah, it would make sense because it has like a more kind of like distorted effect on it, you
Yeah.
know, versus like some of the other puppets. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it makes sense.
Yeah, the
But
lighting is
that
a little
was-
bit weird on it too and stuff. That's what's what makes me wonder.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I
probably
don't know how they
also-
did that.
that's probably also part of what makes it like nightmare fuel is it just looks slightly off because it's kind of like transposed from being.
It is a
shot
ghost.
separately.
It should look off.
It does, but the other ghosts do not look anywhere near as scary. Even the one that's meant to be like the Grim Reaper, essentially.
We'll have to
which
eventually do Scrooge. Scrooge is the one where the ghost of Christmas Future, he like pulls the hood back and then screams and puts the hood back on it.
Oh yeah, I've actually never seen all of Scrooge. I've only ever seen bits and pieces of Scrooge.
It
which
has
is like,
been a very long time for me.
which is like I know like sacrilegious to a lot of people because
That's the one.
everyone seems to really like Scrooge. I've just never gotten around to watching it in its
And the irony
entirety.
in Scrooge is they are putting on a performance of A Christmas Carol when he gets visited.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. He's
man.
like a TV executive.
Yeah. You want to like kind of walk through the cast and crew?
We were talking about how to do this a minute ago.
Yeah, I'm at a fucking loss, dude.
The thing to remember that the Muppets themselves are actors, basically. They have their own IMDBs, but I guess they didn't at this point because they are uncredited. It is actually the voice actors and the Muppeteers. So I don't fucking know.
Yeah, they're like I feel like they changed throughout the years, right? Even on like the credits of the movies themselves, where now they're kind of like more intricate. If you actually watch the final ending credits for the Muppets, they're like more detailed as far as like who
Yeah.
all is getting credited.
Because it used
But
to
back
just
in the
say
day,
like,
they'd really-
it used to just say Kermit and Miss Piggy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Movie is of course directed by Brian Henson.
And this was the first thing. This was like the first Muppets movie not directed by Jim Henson, right? Because I think I read that like the first
I
three were
believe
made by
so.
him, and then this was going to be his first one. There's a Guardian article that I'm going to be pulling some tidbits from. That's really interesting. This was kind of like what led to A Christmas Carol being selected, but this was a quote from the article "How We Made the Muppet Christmas Carol." Interviews by Ben Beaumont Thomas. With several of the cast, and this section is from Brian Henson, who was the director. He said, "My father Jim passed away in 1990. He had done 3 Muppet movies, and I didn't want too much of a direct comparison between me and my dad. So I thought, let's do something different. Our agent Bill Habert said to me, 'Christmas Carol is the greatest story of all time.' Goddamn right.
Yep.
You should do that." While I was thinking about it, he called me back and said, "I've sold it to the ABC TV channel." We set to work on the script. The Muppets are famous for questioning the status quo and anti-establishment irreverence, so we took that and pointed it at Charles Dickens. Robin the Frog was going to be the ghost of Christmas Past. Miss Piggy was going to be this ghost of Christmas Present. and Animal was going to be the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, which I kind of want to see.
I kind of want to see that.
Right? They were going to do a romping parody, and then he said, "We stopped and reconsidered. Nobody had ever captured Dickens's prose, the wonderful way he described the scenes, so we had to put Charles Dickens in the movie. Who's the least likely character to be Charles Dickens? Gonzo. So we made him this omniscient storyteller, with Rizzo his pain-in-the-neck sidekick. 95% of what Gonzo says in the movie is directly taken from the book." So they
most
they
of
originally
what Scrooge
had
says too.
yeah, they like slightly kind of like tweak some scenes, but a lot of it is direct dialogue from the novel, which I
Yeah.
think is cool.
It's
So
so cool.
I think it was interesting. I actually didn't know that the original idea was to make it more of a parody, but then they kind of like realized, what if we just like directly adapted it, but with the flavor of the Muppets, you know?
The fact that it takes itself, not itself, but takes the story, the content of the story so seriously is part of why I love this movie so much, because
Oh man,
they're having fun being themselves, but they're taking the subject matter seriously. And it's the perfect mix.
yeah, it's like the Muppets doing a riff tracks of just A Christmas Carol. You know, it's not like a full blown parody. It's like the extra layers of their songs and in their tone, but like
I
A
don't even
Christmas
think
Carol.
it's a parody. I think it's actually capturing the spirit of the story and everything.
I'm talking about how it's like it's like their kind of segments are like overlaid while the movie itself is still present in there. Like the
Yeah.
story is still there at its core. It's like the entire core of A Christmas Carol is in this movie. It's just being presented through the lens of the Muppets. Like it's
And the
not
Muppets
even
are just doing what they do best.
Yeah.
It's great.
yeah. It's like let me pull back up my IMDb page. I had the article pulled up. It is Jerry Jewell, who was the screenplay writer for this, and I believe he had like a long history of writing stuff for like Sesame Street, and had worked a bunch of Jim Henson stuff where he was working on like several Muppet movies, including writing the screenplay for Muppet Treasure Island, Muppets from Space. He was like the go-to guy for the screenplays for these for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I see that. I'm scrolling through and it's just all Muppets, Sesame
He was
Street,
the
all the
head
way
writer
back
for
to Ed
Fraggle Rock.
Sullivan.
What's your history with Fraggle Rock? Because
I-
that's another one of these that I think it was slightly before my time, so I completely missed Fraggle Rock.
I had never heard of it until a couple of years ago.
It's one of those that's like really beloved by the people that were into it, that have nostalgia for it, but it just missed me. But yeah, he was the head writer for that, which is kind of in the same kind of ballpark as this.
Makes sense.
I always like on IMDb when you pull up like the writing credits and they just have a picture of Charles Dickens next to the current people
Right.
that were in the movie. It's always
Jerry
loved that.
Jewell. Well, Jerry was a jewel the size of a tangerine.
Size of tangerine.
Fucking
Yeah, let's
love
get
it.
into it, man. Michael Caine.
Acting
Yeah.
his ass off. One of the best, probably one of my all-time favorite performances from Michael Caine.
And that's a high bar to clear because I love him in basically everything he said. He's one of those where it's like, even if I don't like the movie, he's like Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
where
he's
it's
fun to
like-
watch.
He's fun to watch, and you will enjoy his segments even if the movie itself is ass, because he's just so good. He's so charismatic.
So-
This is another part of the article I wanted to bring up, but this is from Brian Henson's kind of background when he first talked to Michael Caine to join this movie. He said, "When I first met Michael Caine to talk about playing Scrooge, one of the first things he said was, 'I'm going to play this movie like I'm working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I will never wink. I will never do anything Muppety. I'm going to play Scrooge as if it is an utterly dramatic role and there are no puppets around me.'" Which was the exact perfect decision because it
Exactly.
makes the movie work so well.
Let's see. So 1992. So he was 60 years old in 1992. Is that what I'm getting? Am I doing that
checks
math
out.
right?
I think so.
How the fuck old does that make him now? Holy shit.
Yeah, Michael Caine is up there, dude.
He's like 90 years old.
Yep. 1933.
I did
91.
not. I didn't know he's in Tenet.
He's 91. I think he has a brief role in Tenet. I've deleted 98% of that movie from my brain, so I can't tell you exactly who he is in it.
So he has a charisma about him, like you're talking about. He's very charismatic. He has this restraint about him that makes him very good with like facial expressions and stuff. He never reacts to anything over the top or anything. And putting him opposite the Muppets, like this is just daily life. This is just the world. We live in a world of Muppets. It's so good.
Yeah, it's such a good juxtaposition with him and the Muppets because especially I like the segments at the very beginning, like where he's just fed up with all of them too, where he's just like, these goddamn fucking puppets around my goddamn neighborhood, dude.
Yeah.
It's like he just says this like,
Get these monkey fighting Muppets off of my Monday to Friday plane.
He's got this like it's interesting because it's like everything he does he like acts with precision.
That's a good way to say it.
With his dialogue, with the way he's reacting.
Everything he does is with purpose.
Yeah. Like how good is his reaction to Marley and Marley?
Yes.
Like the Marley and Marley thing is fucking ridiculous in all the best ways, and he's reacting to it like he's fucking terrified. But at the same time, there's always this like little bit of I don't fully believe this is happening because he's just so he doesn't believe in anything at that point in the movie. Like he's still just like, no, fuck this isn't real. Like this was like what's the line that they make fun of him for? It's like, you're more gravy than grave or whatever.
Yeah, there's more about gravy than the grave about you or something.
And then they immediately heckle the shit out of him for that
because it's Statler and Waldorf, the best goddamn joke in the movie.
Man, I love that they took the time to like bullshit a second Marley brother just to have Statler and Waldorf as the Marleys because
it's so good.
It's too perfect to pass up.
It works so much better than having Goofy in the Mickey's Christmas Carol. Goofy is Marley, and I'm always like, why?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Why? He even has the head wrap, and like his jaw falls off when he takes it off. They even go that far with it. But
I have not seen it because I have never given two shits about Mickey Mouse in any capacity. I just
it's not great.
I dodged like every Mickey Mouse landmine when I was a little kid, and just
because
even back then
it's goofy,
never watched any of it at all.
Because it's Goofy, he's like tripping over his chains and stuff.
Gore.
Yeah, exactly. They go full slapstick with
it's
Marley. But yeah, Michael Caine, man. Now, does anyone talk about juxtaposition? Him as Scrooge, and then him and Children of Men, right?
Yeah.
Like, my God, he may as well have been the fucking squatter in Color Out of Space.
Yeah, pretty much. Pull my finger.
That's Michael Caine.
That's Michael Caine, dude.
He's a dapper gent asking you to pull his finger.
I like how one of his and he's like a great juxtaposition in that too, because that's like the most dire and fucking bleak movie I've ever seen, and he's
doing a pull my finger joke.
He's gonna pull my finger joke, and he's like the comedic relief aspect of the movie,
and he does it,
and he does it perfectly.
Underrated actor, even though he's almost universally beloved. Underrated actor.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like
he's got more range than people give him credit for.
People have he's so iconic that
the size of a tangerine.
The size of a tangerine. So
sorry.
So yeah, I start like running back through fucking Michael Caine Batman quotes because he's also like, what was the point of all those bloody push-ups
if you can't push up to do?
If you can't lift a bloody log.
That's the one I was about to do. That is so a perfect Alfred line, dude.
I fucking love him as Alfred so much.
He's so good.
He's so good. I completely derailed myself in the Batman. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about now. Yeah. people have grown to like love him as Michael Caine, at the icon, like the GOAT, that they've forgotten to like appreciate Michael Caine the actor, because like he's so fucking good, and he has there's a lot of like depth in even some of the like lesser known movies that he's done. He's like I said earlier, he's like Gary Oldman, where like he fucking brings it, man. It's like he gets paid to work, and he's like what was that quote I said about like he's treating his performance in the Muppet movie like he's working on Broadway. Like it's like with the Royal, like Shakespeare Company.
And that mindset, that's what made Christopher Lee so great.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot over 4 years and our previous podcast about how it doesn't matter how good or bad a movie is. Christopher Lee would be the best person in it, giving the best performance he's ever given.
Exactly.
Like every performance was better than the last time you saw him. It didn't matter if the movie was shit, because if he was going to do the job, he was going to do it as well as he could. And I don't know of anything that was just, shit that Michael Caine was in. Christopher Lee worked. Christopher Lee did anything he asked him to. But Michael Caine, he gives it his all. He's acting. I know this is sacrilege. I'm sorry, Muppet fans, but they are. He's acting opposite of a bunch of puppets, dude. And he is, again, I think Alfred is number 2 to his Scrooge. I really do. As much as I love Michael Caine as Alfred, his Scrooge is incredible.
Yeah, man, just like his like energy on screen, when if you like A/B the first 10 minutes of the movie versus the last 10 minutes of the movie, like he's moving quicker at the end.
Yeah.
He just has this like he's fucking magnetic as shit. Like you're wanting to join them on the street when they're going around, like when he's giving out all the gifts and shit. Like you want to walk down the street with them. It's such like a fucking wonderful part of the movie. Like you're smiling like a fucking idiot at goddamn at freaking Alfred walking down the street giving a little piece of cheese to a family of mice puppets. Like it's fucking dumb.
So,
but I'm like fucking just smiling like an idiot the whole time it's happening at the end. It's so wonderful.
Obviously, they tried to be very faithful in this movie to the original Charles Dickens story. But you can tell in his performance that Michael Caine is very familiar with it also. Whether he was before he got the role or not, you can tell that he studied up on it. Because the beginning of the movie, he's fucking evil, right? Like he throws that wreath at the little caroling kid. That makes me laugh every time. But he looks like a fucking demon when he does it.
He really does.
But his line delivery. So everyone, including, as much as I love the Jim Carrey, Robert Zemeckis one, everyone's line delivery is always so over the top for, well, are there no poorhouses or are there no prisons? If they're gonna die, let them do it and decrease the surplus population. Everyone always delivers that screaming. Michael Caine just delivers it as if that's just a philosophy that everybody should have.
It's because most performances like bleed into caricature, and he's just a character. Like he is more believable as a businessman who is jaded as fuck, and because
it's all just a
life,
matter of fact to him.
This is the way the world should
be.
Yeah, he's backed himself into a corner, and he's a jaded businessman who doesn't really have any family because he kind of like alienates himself from his, like his last, relative, his nephew. And you actually believe he's like a real person in this. Sometimes they do kind of like venture too much into like he reaches like the levels of like despicable kind of evil to where he's it's almost like a fucking mustache twirler kind of like pure
Snotty Whiplash.
Yeah, like pure evil, like a fucking Power Rangers villain instead of just a jaded businessman, which is what he is.
But which Power Rangers villain? Are we talking Rita, Lord Zed, the Cog Army?
I like how you kind of like walked me down the road of thinking about Power Rangers and made me think about the Krispy Kreme donuts running joke in the movie. Do you remember that?
Okay.
I forgot about that the other day, and then I was driving by.
Mad. That's the best joke in that entire movie.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. Like I love that Redding
And-
joke in that movie.
And it was all worth it because the punchline was not the Krispy Kreme. It was the last time you see it, Rita is sitting in the Krispy Kreme eating the donuts and enjoying them.
Yeah,
It's
it was great.
amazing.
It was great.
Yeah, so where I was gonna go with that is just like are there no prisons? No poorhouses? Like he's just so like he's acting like he's confused as to why he would give his money as opposed to you can go fuck yourself. I'm not giving you a cent of my money. He's just confused as to why would I when we have these institutions I'm already paying for with my taxes?
Yeah, it's
Like to him, that's the charity.
His tone leads more into the direction of like how I feel like Scrooge would be as an actual guy of like his reaction to everything is out of like a cold dissonance instead of like aggressively being spiteful.
It's less spite and more his humanity is so far buried he can't even connect anymore.
Yeah.
And is the way he's portrayed. And then I remember the point I was going towards now. So you start with that, and then when we get to like Ghost of Christmas Present, right? His performance turns to less about like not understanding what the spirit is trying to teach him to actively being involved in his education, I guess we can call it. He's actively engaging with Christmas Present and asking questions and stuff. Even in the original story. In fact, they do it much more in the original story. And then when you get to Christmas Future doesn't talk. Like Scrooge leads his own lesson in that. And the way Michael Caine portrays that evolution. You notice he's standing up taller by the time you get to Christmas Present?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not as hunched over as he was.
Yeah,
his posture gets better as the movie goes.
They also do a lot with the camera angles. I like how the first few scenes of him, you don't actually see his face. He's always like it's like a lot of shots from the Muppet perspective where it's like really low to the ground, and his face is not shown for the first several scenes of the movie. Even though he's on screen, they like have a lot of close-ups of like his cane and him kind of walking through the streets, or like shots from behind him. There's lots of
it's almost
Dutch
like
angles.
even the camera can't look at him.
Yeah, there's lots of Dutch angles, kind of like where the camera's tilted to kind of like show just how, like kind of like off center he is as a person, and how like kind of alienated he is from everyone else. And then by the end of it, there's very little of that because he's kind of like recentered himself and gone through the whole lesson. It's like I love the lesson too of the way he reacts to not just being saddened by what's going on with like Tiny Tim and stuff, but specifically I love the Christmas past stuff of it's just him like sitting alone at school and how like tragic that is. Like he gets like a second chance to realize like the decisions he was making even as a little kid that led him down this path, and how like that really like strikes like a chord with me, because you think back to like the worst thing you can possibly do. And it happens constantly because the way the human brain is just fucking stupid. It's just like, hey, you'll be sitting there. It's like, and your brain's like, hey, you remember that like horrible thing you did to that person 25 years ago?
Oh,
and you're
God.
just like, isn't that the worst?
I hate being haunted in the shower, dude.
And then like I will be laying in bed, and then I'll think back to like some kid.
Why did I say that in high school?
I'll think back to like someone I had bullied in elementary school when I was in second grade. And those things are like the types of things that haunt you, and your brain just like latches onto it randomly, but he gets to like go back and relive it again. And those moments are like some of the most like defining things that make you the way you are now, is how you react to shit that you yourself did 30 years ago. And the way he's just so sad by the fact that like he was spending every Christmas alone, just viewing it as a time to study, and just totally, distancing himself even, and he had friends, because he comments, or like at least the way that he like kind of reminisced on it, he talks about how like one of the kids walking by was his best friend.
Yeah.
And it's all and a lot of it is just in his facial reactions, like you said earlier. It's not a lot of dialogue as far as like him reacting to it by what he's saying to the ghost. It's a lot of just the look on his face, and he conveys so much of that wonderfully. It's such like I know it's the fucking Muppet movie, but it's such a good fucking performance.
It's so good. Also, oh god, I had a point I was holding in my head. What was it? What was I about to say? Oh god,
Sorry,
Jeff.
this movie leads me to like ramble a bit because it just like it hits my fucking soul like like when I'm watching it.
Do you think they thought it would be too dark to go into why he stayed at school studying and stuff? Because in the original story, it's because he has an abusive father, right?
You'll have to elaborate on that because I wasn't able to fully finish the audiobook on it, so I do not recall.
Fan has a line when she comes to get him, his sister. Something about how father actually wants him to come home this year, and how he's a lot less angry than he used to be, or something like that. There's something about it that always led me to believe that like they had an abusive father at home, so he was just like hiding out at school.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't elaborate on his kind of like family life at all outside of the relationship and lack thereof that he now has with his nephew.
Yeah. You want to talk about the nephew? We've been talking a lot about Scrooge.
Yeah.
So Fred in this is played by Stephen McIntosh.
Played by not Paul Bettany.
Right. So I like Fred in this movie because whereas they usually lean so evil and spiteful in adaptations of the story, they usually go the exact opposite with Fred. And I usually agree with Scrooge about Fred in any version of A Christmas Carol.
Where he's like too obnoxious.
Oh, he's so obnoxious. Like yeah. I want to cook him in his pudding and bury him with a stake of holly through his heart. But Fred, I want to hang out with Fred in this movie.
He seems like a solid bro in this movie.
He seems great.
And I like how in the opening scene where he's at his office, he seems like I like the kind of like tightrope they're walking with him of how he is a genuinely good person, but the way he's kind of like talking to Scrooge is that at that point he knows deep down how like useless it is to try to argue Scrooge into changing.
It's obvious to me he's been doing this year after year after year.
Yeah, like it's not
with nothing changing.
I feel like a lot of the instances of that character when they're put into scenes with Scrooge, it's like they're aggressively trying to change Scrooge. And the Fred in here is like he's accepted the fact that Scrooge is never going to change. Yeah. So he's just kind of like poking fun at him a bit and almost kind of like he's kind of almost like heckling him, you know. It's not a legitimate he thinks that, like he knows he's not going to fucking change him never in a million years, so he's just kind of like commenting on, and it's almost like a debate but not like a point where he thinks he can change him. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that, and I always liked how in the original story and in this, it's remarked on about how sharp and quick Scrooge is, and the way that he turns people's words against them and stuff is very evident that he's the smartest man in the room a lot of the time. And then Fred walks in, and Fred's just as smart and quick as he is. So like, when he says something like, "What reason do you have to be married this time of year? You're poor enough." And he's like, "Well, what reason do you have to be angry? You're rich enough." Like it's
such a good reversal.
He constantly reverses Scrooge's lines against him the way Scrooge does everyone else.
I think is it like Rizzo who's like oh my god, he left him speechless, and then he starts shit talking again, and then he's like, I guess he's not that speechless.
Yeah, it's like oh, the old boy left him speechless, and then if I had my way, I would cook everyone that goes around with Merry Christmas on their lips. I would boil them in their own pudding and bury them with a stake of holly in their heart. Okay, so not that speechless. I fucking love Rizzo, dude.
Yeah, the Rizzo, it's such good writing too, because one thing that they were really concerned about, and rightfully so, is like how do we go about making this story accurate to the book without scaring little kids? And the constant presence of Rizzo and Gonzo as Charles Dickens and is like sidekick pretty much. It's such like a good way to keep the it's like a constant release valve of the tension, you know? Like they'll have an incredibly heavy or bleak scene which could scare kids, and then they undercut it intentionally with Rizzo and Gonzo. By with them being funny, with them having slapstick, you know.
Ghost of Christmas Future. Oh, I can't do this. This is too scary. You know what? I actually agree with you. We'll see you at the finale, folks.
We'll see you at the finale.
So let's play Find Ron and Jeff in the movie. Are you Gonzo and I'm Rizzo?
That sounds pretty accurate.
I think that sounds pretty accurate in this instance, right?
I also, the other moment in the movie that made me think of these are the Ron and Jeff of the movie is very early on. There's like two side Muppets, and they're talking about how like they just finished their meal. They're like, "What are we gonna do now? Lunch sounds good."
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 pigs or something dressed in top hats.
That also made me think of that's the Ron and Jeff of the movie.
I was gonna bring this up earlier. I know what I forgot now. Going back to Scrooge for just a moment. You talk about when they first introduce him in the street in that very first song. So when it's the only time in that song basically you get a full body shot of him, but he's in shadow from part of his chest up. So you don't see his face, you just see his silhouette at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the lighting goes down a little bit when he steps out. And Rizzo comments to Gonzo, "Did it just get colder out here?" But like the lighting actually goes down. It actually gets darker on set a little bit when he steps out. And I was watching this with my kids, and my son Nathan goes, "Why did it just get darker?" And I was like, "Because Scrooge is that evil." And he was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "You'll understand one day."
Symbolism.
Yeah. But even my 8-year-old son was like, "Why did it just get darker?" Right when Scrooge walked out. It was a subtle change, but he noticed it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, dude, another thing that made me think of like you and me is 1, Rizzo's always eating. And then 2, just the little stuff like when Gonzo's like, "Man, this really is a dirty city." And then he picks up Rizzo and he uses him to clean the window, and Rizzo's just like, "Thanks for including me." Or no, "Thanks for making me part of this." And then he drops Rizzo and tries to look in. But yeah. The jelly beans.
I love I think my favorite joke with him, or one of my favorite jokes with him, is how terrified Rizzo is of the heights from having to go over the fence, and then he realizes he has to just go back underneath to walk past, so he never realizes that he could have just walked underneath it from the very beginning.
Yeah,
and then Gonzo's level of just like, "You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah, that is peak Ron and Jeff, I feel like, right there, because that's what I meant by the jelly beans, because Rizzo has the most Ron line I've ever heard of in my life. He was like, what was it? It was something like, there's 2 things that I hate the most: heights and falling from them.
Yeah.
And then he jumps off of the thing, and then he's like, "Oh no, my jelly beans!" And then just walks through the bars. And comes back and he's like, "You could have fit through the bars the whole time." "Yeah, why?" "You're such an idiot." And he just walks off. And that "you're such an idiot" is that's peak Ron and Jeff right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, like I can just see you doing the Cartman, like pinching the top of the nose thing, just like, oh. Yeah,
man.
So good. Rizzo's so good.
Yeah, it's great. I love the part later when he falls
Light
through.
the lamp, not the rat. Light the lamp, not the rat.
When he falls through the thing of water, and he's like a fucking Rizzo sickle. He's like
Gonzo
carrying him like a fucking
him on the barrel.
Yeah, he's carrying he's like literally like a fucking popsicle. It's so funny.
Oh, okay. So in the original story, Bob Cratchit is Scrooge's only employee.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the rats as the bookkeepers.
I love the bookkeepers are awesome. Dude, when it cuts back, yeah, when it cuts back and they're all in like the island gear is so funny.
Yeah, they're all in like hula skirts and coconut bras, and there's like heat wave. And then they're like, yeah, ask him, go ask him. And then Kermit asks him, and when he gets mad, you're like, "Hey, don't be mad at us, be mad at the frog. It was his idea."
Yeah, they're really, really great.
The one that's in the stove like it's a sauna. Oh yeah, and then also when they're trying to make it warmer, what is the is it a bellows that you use to stoke a fire? And he's using Rizzo's
yeah.
legs like a bellows,
Yeah, it's really good.
but he's just talking naturally like this is something everyone does.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh god.
I love the way they use Sam the Eagle later. Where he's like his school instructor, and that line where he's talking about like this is the American way, and they have to hard cut to
no, Sam. That's the thing too. He even breaks character because he's not Sam, right? He's whatever the teacher's name is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, no, Sam. And then he whispers in the ear. He's like, oh, it is the British way. And then he turns and looks for who the fuck just spoke to me. Oh, it's so good.
It's like he's giving like on stage direction, like it's like rehearsals for like a stage play.
I've been intending to repair that shelf. Yes, headmaster.
Man, there's like so much physical comedy with the Muppets that's like and it never comes across as like annoying, like it easily could have if they'd like gone like too far with.
Yeah,
but they were legitimately great at writing physical comedy for these fucking puppets, dude. So it's like it's never like a kind of like a chore to get through some of the physical comedy. It's like you can enjoy it for the Muppets, and then you can enjoy it for like just the core story of A Christmas Carol, but you blend it together and it's just like it's such a fun and well-paced movie because it's like interwoven constantly of we're going to progress the plot a little bit and then we're going to have a little bit of Muppets, and you know.
It's not just that. It's every like which Muppet is playing which character is so calculated.
Oh yeah.
And it is dead on. You know, Kermit being Bob Cratchit, obviously Miss Piggy has to be Mrs. Cratchit. You've got the Marleys is fucking Statler and Waldorf. Perfect. Gonzo's the storyteller. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's great.
It's just so well done. And then okay, so I know she's a fan favorite. Miss Piggy always fucking annoys me.
This is just the voice that you can't stand.
It's the voice and how over the top she is. Like I feel like next to her, every single Muppet is the straight man. Because she's just so over the top. But in this movie, when they're giving the toast to the founder of the feast, adding 2 more pigs as her daughters that are just like her is kind of incredible. Everything that she says, they're just like, huh, like agreeing with her, just like, huh. And then when she says, and he's poorly dressed, they're like, oh.
Yeah, it's great.
Adding the 2 daughters that are exactly like her was amazing. So they balance her out pretty good. And then
I'm usually just real quick on Miss Piggy. I'm usually not the biggest Miss Piggy fan either, but I like the way that they use her kind of over the topness with the last exchange with her and Scrooge, when Scrooge is like he's changed and become a good person, but he's kind of fucking with Kermit, you know?
Yeah.
At the end when he's talking about like, why weren't you at work today? All that stuff, and she's like ready to fucking murder him. And then Scrooge,
and I'm gonna raise your salary. I'm gonna raise you off the pavement.
Yeah, I love that transition where it's just all of a sudden he's going through the cadences of yelling at him and threatening him, but he's talking about he's gonna raise his salary and all this like
and
shit
pay his
he's
mortgage
doing for him, and then it takes her a while to like catch up while she's still just screaming at him. And I like
she slowly moves behind Kermit. It's like, oh, well, please come in.
Yeah, I like that scene where they kind of like they realize how much of like a fucking meme Miss Piggy is, and they use it, as part of like a well written joke.
Did you ever see Muppet Haunted Mansion?
I don't think I have. I need to.
You do. You really do. And then you need to look up who all the cameos are, because there's even like fucking YouTubers in there, and I didn't know half the cameos. But one of them is even fucking right at the beginning. One of the first ones you get is fucking I can't think of his name. Machete.
Danny Trejo.
Yes.
Nice.
He's one of the ghosts right at the beginning. But can I do minor spoilers for you?
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it's not the best joke in the movie, but it's a pretty good one. Um, Miss Piggy is inside of a crystal ball. She's like the fortune teller, but she's in the crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not having it. Like everyone else, just like this, is playing their character. She is not playing along, and she spends the entire scene yelling about how this is the only scene in the movie she gets and how ridiculous this is, and she's gonna fire her agent and get a new agent and stuff while all the movie is happening around her in this one scene. And that's the only moment she's in. She's in the movie for like 3 minutes.
Nice.
And it's stuck inside of a crystal ball, and she's not having it.
When did that movie come out? I forget.
It's been like 2 or 3 years at this point, right?
Didn't they have that coming out, and then like a year or so later they had the like full on kind of remake of that?
2021, so 3 years ago.
Okay, because I saw the actual like standard movie remake of it, and I liked it.
I forgot
quite
that
a bit.
happened.
It was with Lakeith Stanfield, who I like a lot as the main character, and it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty strong.
I wanted to see it, but I forgot that it happened. I watched this one a couple times though. It's got a really good song that I've been trying to get you to go check out.
The Haunted Mansion Muppet.
Yeah.
One? Okay.
Yeah. It's got a really good song in it in the middle, and then Will Arnett is one of the main ghosts in it, and he's pretty good.
I like Will Arnett a lot. I'm jonesing a bit more for Muppet stuff right now because of the yearly rewatch of this. So I'll probably check it out here soon.
It's short too. It's not even a full. It's not even like it's barely like a full-fledged movie.
It's one of those where it's like 70 minutes long, like just barely squeezing by.
Yeah, it's like 80 minutes or something. Let me see. I'm sorry. It's 50 minutes.
Oh wow.
So it's not even an hour.
So it was like a special, then it wasn't even actually like a full-blown theatrical release.
Yeah, it went straight to Disney Plus.
Okay, that makes sense. Nice.
Yeah, they it's not the best movie I've ever seen or anything, but if you're jonesing for Muppets, it's very Muppets.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I like Haunted Mansion, so
they spend more time almost making fun of the ride, the Haunted Mansion, than actually like doing the Haunted Mansion. But it's pretty good because the whole thing about Gonzo is nothing scares him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the joke in the whole movie. They're constantly trying to scare him, and nothing gets to him. What is the fucking prawn? His buddy, that's a prawn. What's his name?
Oh fuck, I know which one you're talking about, but I'm not sure.
I can't think of his name right now. He instead of Rizzo and Gonzo, it's him and Gonzo.
Ron, can you go see the Muppet Christmas Carol in concert? I just realized I stumbled upon this as I was kind of like popping around Google and the various websites we've been searching tonight. There's apparently Muppet Christmas Carol in concert tickets you can buy, and I kind of need to buy this.
No, I was not aware of that.
Because the one thing I wanted to touch back on more before we sign off at the end of the episode is that the songs in this movie are fucking great.
They're fucking phenomenal, and they're so
the
much better than they deserve to be.
They're amazing. Like the fucking Marley and Marley song will be stuck in your head until you hear the fucking the Ghost of Christmas Present song, and then that's the one that really
that's the one that gets stuck in your head. Thankful Heart is really good too.
Yeah, even the ones that aren't the like main two bangers are fucking like they're all really well written songs.
Scrooge, my kids really like Scrooge. At the first one.
They're really good.
Yeah, there's an unused song that I haven't heard yet called When Love Is Gone. And the thumbnail for it on Disney Plus, because it's in the extras, is when he's watching his fiancée break up with him.
Gotcha. One More Sleep Till Christmas is also like that. Like they're all fucking catchy as shit.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that like really fucking stick in my head, is like where it's like they're not even like that like long of a song usually either. Like their musical numbers are pretty short. They're like they're not like super extended
this
songs.
Movie moves. This movie
catchy.
feels like it's 10 minutes to me.
It feels like one of those like Disney Plus specials we're talking about where it's like it feels like it's 50 minutes long.
Yeah,
it feels
it's
like
a full
an hour
90
of a TV
minutes.
show.
It's like 90,
Feels like an
95
hour of
minutes.
a fucking like it feels like a 45-minute TV show.
Yeah.
It flies by. I also love the layup they had of the Fezziwig Fozziwig name.
Yes.
Like, that was really well done.
Dude, okay, so like you, I'd gone several years between viewings, and then once I started watching it again, it became annual for me because I was like, oh my god, I need to show this to the kids, right? Like a couple years ago.
Are they into it?
Yeah, they're into it.
Okay, good.
Haley just likes the songs, really. She doesn't really care for the rest of it, but Nathan's into it.
Well, Nathan probably likes the like horror aspects of it,
he
like
does.
we do. Yeah, because you said he's like a little horror fiend in the making.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You have no idea some of the shit I see him playing. So, fuck. I'm sorry. I'm still recovering from whatever the fuck was making me sick.
Oh no, you're good. My fucking brain feels like it's on shuffle today, so I'm struggling today too. So it's all good.
Anyways, the what was I gonna say? The
Was it with the Fozziwig stuff?
That's it. Yeah. When I had completely forgotten that existed. So, and I mean, I listened to that Tim Curry audiobook when we first was getting ready to watch the movie. I had realized I had never actually sat down and read A Christmas Carol, so I had just done that a few weeks before. I was like, oh, I forgot about the Muppet version. I need to show this to the kids. When we got to Fozziwig, I burst out laughing.
It's so good,
so fucking hard because that pun is such a layup.
It's so good. I really wish. I think you mentioned earlier about how calculated which Muppet is which character feels like. I would love to have been like a fly on the wall for the discussions of
it's like that scene in Endgame where they're trying to find all the stones and the best route to go get all of the Infinity Stones. It's just them laying on the floor surrounded by papers and images of Muppets. Just like what? No, he's here in New York.
Because the idea they had for like Animal as Ghost of Christmas Future, those are the types of, I was like, I know they had to come up with other good ideas, so I want just like the unused list of ideas of like what other kind of like concepts they had, because I'm sure there's other like fucking great ideas.
I don't know what's
they had.
better, a silent Ghost of Christmas Future or just Animal just being like, like pointing.
Like pointing with the drumstick.
Yeah. I love him with the triangle and he can't fucking stand it. Just ding.
It's like, fuck this. Yeah.
Ding. By the way, I think it's Geico. One of the best commercials I've ever seen on TV is, there's an animal living in our attic, and it hard cuts to Animal on the drum set in the attic of the house, and it hard cuts to like them trying to sleep at night and stuff, and he's just in the attic really banging away.
Was that like a Super Bowl commercial?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a great commercial.
I love that one, and we have ants. And then it cuts to like 4 or 5 old ladies walking to the house. Like, you really could dust more often and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was really strong.
But yeah, we have an Animal in the attic, and then it cuts to Animal on the drums.
Yeah, just going ape shit on the drums.
Oh god,
that's fantastic.
Also, one of the best things the Muppets ever did. Look up Animal playing Wipeout. It's him going crazy on the drums on a surfboard surfing. The drum set and everything is on the surfboard. It's so good. The other thing, this has nothing to do with anything. While I'm making recommendations. Have you ever seen the Muppet version of it's from the Muppet Show, actually. Actually, Animal playing Wipeout might have been from the Muppet Show too. I don't remember. But the Muppet Show did this one. But
I just found the bit of him on the surfboard with the drum set. It's so good.
What's it called? Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Oh yeah.
They did that on the Muppet Show, and it's really good too. Man. Just an all Muppet version. There's the Muppet Devil with his golden fiddle and stuff.
It's funny. It's like they
changed "Son of a Bitch" to "Son of a Gun." Other than that, it's exactly the same song.
Nice. Yeah, I fucking love the Muppet Christmas Carol, and I always seem to enjoy like the Muppet thing when I get around to watching it, but I never really watched it like extensively as a kid. And it's one of those things where it's like I feel like I should seek this out more because I do enjoy it, but it's one of those things where it's like for whatever reason I don't think about it that often. But did you watch the Muppets a lot as a little kid?
I so I am one of the handful of people that does not like the Muppet Babies, but that's what was always fucking on at daycare and stuff. Was the goddamn Muppet Babies? I can't stand. I hate babyfying anything. I hated the Looney Tunes babies. I hated Rugrats. I hate all of that shit.
It was all over the place there for about 5 years too.
Why?
That was like the trend was like whatever existing IP,
make it a baby.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna babyfy it, and that was just fucking everywhere. I think the only one that I liked a little bit because it hit me like the perfect age was like there was a Scooby-Doo one where I was like just young enough to like really enjoy the little kid versions, but I'm sure if I watched it now I'd be like, this is fucking garbage.
They tend to take like a 10-year break between iterations of Scooby-Doo, so you're probably starved for more Scooby-Doo at that point. Yeah, I don't know. The closest I ever came to liking a baby version of anything, and this wasn't even babies, was like Pound Puppies.
What was Pound? I'm not familiar with that. What was Pound Puppies?
Oh wow, was that before you? Oh, you're such a baby, Jeff. So do you even remember the Pound Puppies craze? They were little stuffed animals that everyone was collecting like crazy, and they had a cartoon show. And then eventually those went away, and we got what was the little TY things everybody was collecting? It wasn't Beanie Babies, was it? Was it Beanie Babies?
Was it Beanie Babies? I think it was Beanie Babies.
Okay, so those came after Pound Puppies. Pound Puppies was like the first craze.
So Pound Puppies was the first thing?
Yes, they were all.
I remember Beanie Babies being a thing. I just don't remember Pound Puppies.
So Pound Puppies were these little stuffed dogs, these little stuffed puppies. Every breed
like
you can
laying
imagine.
Down?
Uh-huh.
I found an image of them on r/90s.
Yeah, they had a cartoon show that all takes place like in the pound. It's obviously not a kill shelter because they came back every week. And it was just them loving life at the pound. Like the pound seemed like such a nice place for dogs. Not the fucking Alcatraz that it is. But yeah, Pound Puppies was a big fucking deal when I was a kid.
It must have been
just before you.
It must have been happening like when I was too young to realize it was a thing.
I bet you had a Pound Puppy or two. You didn't know that it was a Pound Puppy.
Probably.
I don't know how you could have escaped it. I was born in 85, so there's about 6 years between us, something like that.
Yeah, I was born in 91.
Just added yourself, son.
I do remember the Beanie Baby phase though. My grandma was fucking obsessed with buying and collecting Beanie Babies. She had like 2 giant fucking container bin things just packed to the brim with fucking Beanie Babies, and just like, what are we gonna do with these things?
Man.
So
what were those ceramic kids that everyone was collecting for the longest time? Precious Moments.
Precious Moments.
My mom had a lot of Precious Moments. I don't know if she still has them or not. I said that like she died. She's still with us. I just don't know if she's still collecting them.
What was the like? What's the like normal version of the Garbage Pail Kids? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't even know what the Garbage Pail Kids is.
Oh, you don't know the Garbage Pail Kids? The Garbage Pail Kids are fucking nightmare fuel.
That's what I've heard.
What is the something Patch Kids, but not Sour Patch?
Cabbage Patch?
Is it Cabbage Patch?
The Cabbage Patch Kids? I know the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, I had a Cabbage Patch Kids doll when I was a little kid.
They all like have a weird like scent to them too, right? People like to smell them.
I think.
I remember Trolls too. Do you remember Trolls?
Yeah, I remember Trolls. I think how this is just like fucking r/90s the podcast now.
Right.
Yeah, but
yeah, these do you recognize these? These are the Precious Moments.
They look familiar.
Oh my god, there's a Belle one and she's adorable. There's a Lilo and Stitch one. Wow, these got more modern than I remember. Is there an Elsa one? I might have to get one if there's an Elsa one.
Ron's gonna have a whole collection when he leave any
There's
of the
a
podcast
Moana
recording.
one.
Man, that's dangerous, dude. That was like me when I found that fucking Marley and Marley Funko.
Oh, dude.
I've tried to drift away from Funko buying because it was a problem for a very long time. And that like scratched the itch of like, I kind of want to buy that. And
there's an Anna.
Nice. You gotta get the full set then, dude.
Anna comes with Olaf too.
Yeah, you gotta get the full collection.
Oh my god.
Ron, exit the page.
I'm gonna have to hang on. I gotta keep scrolling. I'm close. I'm this close. There's a Willy Wonka? Why? What? No, this is changed from what I remember. But my mom had a lot of these. What was the other thing I was thinking of? There was Cabbage Patch Kids. There was various Elmos people went crazy for, but that's not the same thing. What was the next craze? That all kind of died out in the 90s. It's like Funkos now, but as popular as Funkos are, I don't think they're like Beanie Babies or Pound Puppies or anything like that. I think things were people were a lot crazier about this stuff in the 90s, and I wonder how much that has to do with the availability of the internet. Because like you had to go to stores to hunt for this. You couldn't just go online and buy it.
Yeah, the wide accessibility of them. The one aspect of the Funkos that reaches that level are the like crazy rare ones. You know, the ones that are like Comic-Con exclusives or some bullshit like that, where it's like there's literally only like 500 of this certain one made. You know,
right?
Those ones reach it, but like it never hit like critical mass. Like this is a pop culture, like Tickle Me Elmo. It never hit that level of like
Furby.
Yeah, it never hit that level of being like a huge craze amongst everybody.
Jeff, my kids have a Furby now. Because Furby's back.
I can't see Furbies without thinking of Mitchell's versus the Machines now.
To the great darkness I return.
Is that the greatest scene in fiction? Because it might be the greatest scene in fiction. I love that so much.
I found it, Jeff.
I'm not gonna lie, the Elsa one looks cool, and I
see what you did there.
I should be beyond that. I wish I could take credit for that pun. I did not intend that, but yeah, it does look pretty cool.
Oh my god, there's an Elsa keychain Precious Moments. Do I like Precious Moments, Jeff?
I think you do, because you're having a problem like exiting off this page.
All right, I'm closing this.
Adds to cart.
Let's see.
Did you have any other kind of like topics to? Because I feel like we've kind of like circled the bases for the most part on Muppet Christmas Carol, but I wanted to kind of circle back with you and see if there's any other topics on it you want to touch on before we sign off.
I just feel like we didn't touch specifically. I think we mentioned here and there on just some of the basics, like the movie's incredibly well shot. Soundtrack's incredible. It is so technically well done, so much more than it deserves to be. That transition from the opening scene from the model of the town to the busy town square full of humans and Muppets, when the camera goes past that rooftop,
it's really good.
It's so well done. Like the movie, it's not just an adaptation of the Christmas Carol. It's not just the Muppets. Like, it is a fucking well-made movie on top of everything. It's just technically well done.
It's easy to forget too, because when you're watching the movie, you just kind of like don't think about it because it all melts together perfectly in your brain. But the idea of having to frame shots to where they work for an actor like Michael Caine, who is having to be framed within the shot and also have enough space for the Muppet puppeteers. Like, that's a logistical nightmare when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's not to the extent of like the crazy shit they did for Lord of the Rings to have Ian McKellen be in frame with the like juxtaposed shot to make the hobbits appear smaller, but it's pretty fucking next level. Like, just having Michael Caine walking through the fucking street, alongside the puppeteering. I like it would be cool to see like what that set actually looks like when it's not being filmed, you know, like where their tricks are removed from it in
Yeah.
order to have like the framing be perfect. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's I can't imagine. And what I wonder also, there are special effects in this, right? They are um what's it called again? Because my brain is fucking mush from whatever's been making me sick for the last month. When they're layering in other images, so like the Marleys are see-through and stuff.
Oh yeah, the like the green screening of it, like
Yeah, basically,
CGI.
when they're taking two different images and putting them on top of each other.
Transposing.
Yes, when they're doing that. Um, I wonder how much of this movie, and this would be fairly unique now, that like Michael Caine is actually seeing and reacting to. Like when the chains come all around him and shoot all through his house, like there was actual Muppet chains that came up and went around and through the house. Like that was a special effect. It would be like doing a stage play. And in fact, it's kind of shot from the same angle you'd be watching like a stage play. And I think that
Right.
I think that is due to the fact they have to hide the Muppeteers, right?
Yeah.
They can't be swinging the camera around like you're used
Yeah,
to.
it always has to be angled up because you have
Yeah.
to eliminate like the floor as much as
Right.
possible to give room for the puppeteering, which is like to make that like not always stand out like a sore thumb is such like a great work of like filmmaking. You know, like it's really underappreciated because it's one of those things where you take it for granted and you don't think about it, and the fact that you don't think about it when you're watching the movie means like they did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and then I mean, as always, um, like the Muppeteers are so good. Yeah, they're puppets. Yeah, they're animals. They're saying and doing silly things and goofy things, but they're not like what are the two puppets that one's a man and one's a woman and they beat each other with baseball bats and stuff? Like they're not doing anything over the top or going crazy. They're acting like actors, but they are puppets being puppeted by people pretending these actors are actors. It's the same thing that they do on Mystery Science Theater with Tom and Crow. They're not over the top and crazy and going nuts. You know, they're just another character on screen.
There's characters who happen to be a Muppet.
And you know, sometimes there's 2 or 3 people per Muppet, and you're trying to talk about coordinating them and everything. They look like and act like they're moving like you would expect a person to in that role, you know? So it again, despite the fact that it's Muppets and it's a Christmas Carol and everything else, it's still just a very technically well-made movie. And it's well written. And I feel like as good as it is, it still has no business being as good as it is.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Uh,
It's like it's one of the best adaptations of a book, and it's the fucking Muppet Christmas Carol movie. But it's so good. It also like pays so much respect to its source material. Like they like we said earlier, so much of it is just directly from the page, and they were actually able to not just have dialogue from the page, but also the like really cool kind of like narration they give to Gonzo is like some of the best parts of the book is the kind of omniscient narration from Charles Dickens, like the way he would describe the scenes, the way it transitions from being, you know, like a traditional drama to he's, you know, describing literal horror scenes, you know, like with the ghosts and shit. It's really well done.
yeah,
It's such a love letter to this story. Like through and through.
so okay, two more lines that are you and me. The first one, Rizzo. Nearby clock strikes the hour. Oh, what was that? Gonzo, 2:00. Rizzo, is it too early for breakfast? Yes. Oh, good, supper time.
I love that line.
And then, I'm trying to find the exact quote, but it's when he was like, "Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, like, how do you know exactly what is going on in that house? You can't see anything any better than I can. And he's like, I'm the storyteller. Storytellers are omniscient. And, and then he starts describing what Scrooge is doing, and you see it happen in the background. And Rose just like, how does he do that? But I feel like that's you and me also for some reason. It's just like, what? I'm the storyteller. Storytellers are omniscient.
Yeah, their back and forth is very reminiscent for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I sent you a link. This is a version of the Christmas Carol I've never seen before that came highly recommended. One of my podcasts I listen to every Friday does a movie recommendation from the hosts. And the category was their favorite versions of a Muppet Christmas Carol. Of a Christmas Carol. They were both wrong because neither one of them said Muppet Christmas Carol.
Which is the correct factual answer.
Yeah, it's like, what's your favorite spaceship, Jeff? What's your favorite spaceship?
Well, now I'm torn because...
Oh, come on, there's only one answer. We've talked about this before.
I'm torn between the TARDIS and the Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah, how about this? What's the best spaceship?
The best one is the TARDIS.
Yeah, it has to be the TARDIS, right?
You said favorite, and that kind of like blends together with other shit. But yeah, the TARDIS. The TARDIS is the best.
If you say anything other than the TARDIS on what's the best spaceship, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But this one is one of the ones they said, I want you to look at the cast on this movie. And then after you look at the cast, I want you to look at the cast again and tell me who you see playing not just Bob Cratchit or not just Mr. Poole, but I want you to tell me who the fuck you see is playing Ghost of Christmas Present.
We're talking about the George C. Scott one?
Yeah. Have you seen this version?
I have not.
I have not either. It's not my fault. It's a year older than I am.
Interesting that David Warner is Bob Cratchit. I like that.
Right.
Casting. Edward Woodward is. You said Ghost of Christmas Present.
Goddamn okay. Equalizer is the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Oh shit, that's a good pick.
Right.
I need to check this out. But you know what's interesting is like.
Did you see who Mr. Poole is?
The way they have this list displayed on. Oh shit! It's OG Alfred.
It's OG Alfred from Batman '89.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about it. The guy they picked for like young adult Scrooge in this looks just like a young Michael Caine. That was an excellent casting choice.
Dude, it's so good.
Fucking like S tier casting choice.
Excellent casting choice. The last thing I wanted to ask you before we sign off. Do you have any other favorite versions of this story? Are there any other versions or adaptations? Because I have one that some people might not even consider that I think is underrated.
You go first and I'll think about it, because what's funny is like I adored the original story. I adore the Muppet version, and I've seen other ones, but I haven't like specifically sought out like many of them, just because there's been like fucking 2,000 Christmas Carol adaptations by now, so there's like a lot to sort through. But
you can't blame them because it's a good story, and it's very Christmas for all the reasons we've talked about. Being a good person and trying to carry that throughout the year and carrying it forward. And whether people are nice to you or not, it's just this thing you're supposed to do is be good. So. And caring about your neighbor and stuff. So it's just a good story. So you can't blame people for constantly adapting it. But I have another favorite version of this. This Muppet Christmas Carol reigns king. Nothing comes close to it. But I think the next closest one, do you remember them doing Christmas Carol on Doctor Who? Michael Gambon was Scrooge. Matt Smith was the Doctor. And Matt Smith was the Ghost of Christmas Past. He was taking the TARDIS from the present to the past constantly. And then the Ghost of Christmas Present was a hologram of Amy, because Amy and Rory were on a spaceship that was crashing. And
I do remember this now.
Scrooge was the only one that could
that
save
one.
them.
I do remember that one now, though, yeah.
And then the Ghost of Christmas Future, do I spoil it? Or do I leave it alone? Because it was so cool.
You can spoil it. Fuck it. It's been
The,
out for
go-
like 15 years.
the Ghost of Christmas Future was Scrooge himself, because what the doctor did was go get Scrooge from when he was a child in the past and bring him forward. And Scrooge, before he even saw it was him as a child, went to go backhand to the kid and saw who it was. And in that moment, he realized what he was, and the child version of him realized what he grows up to be.
So good.
It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, Michael fucking Dumbledore was Scrooge.
Here's one that's also been on my short list for a while to watch. Have you seen the Patrick Stewart one?
That's the Patrick Stewart one?
There was in 1999. There was a Patrick Stewart Ebenezer Scrooge movie. And the performance as Scrooge got him a SAG Award nomination.
Really?
So I've always been really interested in that one because of course it's Patrick fucking Stewart. I gotta watch it. So there's like 20 different fucking Christmas carols I need to watch that I haven't yet.
Huh. Did you know there's one in 2022 that's animated and it's Luke Evans and Olivia Colman?
I had no idea that was a thing.
I didn't either. It's TVY7, so it's Netflix. I was gonna say it sounds like a TV special. Yeah, it's Netflix.
Interesting.
Stephen Donnelly, Luke Evans, Olivia Colman. Interesting.
Yeah, there's so fucking many Christmas carols.
Jonathan Pryce is Marley.
That's good.
That's really good.
That's strong.
That's pretty strong. You got to go hard on Marley, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You can't have, say, fucking Goofy as...
Why was Goofy Marley, dude? That's so dumb.
You need to watch it just for how dumb it is.
Oh, man. I'll be so angry. I don't understand why anyone likes Mickey Mouse in general. And when you're dicking around with one of my favorite stories ever, I'm going to be so mad. Like that would be a good... friends and family selection if you really want to hear me get angry. Is I don't understand Mickey Mouse in general, and then you add fuel to the fire with it being about Christmas Carol, and I'll be fucking pissed.
Jeff, this Netflix animated one, user review, featured review, 6 stars out of 10. The review title is "Too Much Stuff / Scrooge was too handsome." I gotta say, it's a pretty handsome Scrooge.
Who is playing Scrooge in it?
Well, I said it's animated, but Luke Evans is voicing him. So,
Luke Evans.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking handsome. Gaston himself.
Yeah, guy's got a good voice, so he's.
Yet again, Luke Evans is so close to breaking through.
I feel like once Luke Evans gets older, Luke Evans is gonna play Scrooge in a live action thing. It'd be awesome.
Yeah,
he just has that kind of
You know who I texted you someone I thought would be a good Scrooge recently, but I just thought of someone else. Fucking Charles Dance.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tywin Lannister is fucking Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, all about it.
Oh my god.
And he actually can be. He's typically known as just being very charismatically evil. With Tywin, but there are moments in that show where he's genuinely likable and he's actually being chill. There are very few moments, but I feel like he would be able to sell the last act really well too when he changes.
If you watch him in other things, he's a darker Michael Caine, basically. His acting style and the way he carries himself is very similar, but it seems like he tends to go just a little bit darker with his roles. Even the ones where it's more lighthearted and fun, he's just darker. So I feel like it would be something in a Michael Caine Scrooge, but darker and heavier. But he was really good. He was a supporting character, but that Kate Beckinsale series that was on Amazon Prime, I tried to get you to watch forever. What was that called? I
remember. I just remember the name of it.
Yeah, he's helping her. He's a former CIA liaison from the British government.
Nice.
So he is, there we go. The widow. He is supplying her. Her husband dies, And then there's something that happens in a country. I forget if it was in Africa, I think, or South America. Something happens. It's on TV, and in the background, she sees her husband, who she thought was dead. So she's trying to find him. So she goes there to find him, and Charles Dance, loves her like a daughter. She's basically a daughter to him, and he is against his better judgment supplying her with information and pulling some favors people owe him to try to get her into these countries, find information for her, stuff like that. And then anytime he meets with her to talk to her about it, he's trying to talk her out of it because this is ridiculous. But he still does it because she's asking.
I love Charles Dance so much. Charles Dance is fucking amazing.
Alex Kingston is in it too, and she played River Song in Doctor Who. Yeah, and she's really good in it too. It was a really good show. It's only 8 episodes. I think they're about an hour long. It was really good. And the thing that was cool, it's not really a spoiler. It happens in like the first episode, I think. Kate Beckinsale, you think, is just this lady going to this country that is torn between like the local corrupt government and like the drug cartels and stuff. And the first time shit goes down when she's there and she picks up a gun and starts pegging people in the fucking face with it. I think it is cutting back and forth between someone talking about like, how can he let her go do this or whatever? And Charles Dance is like, well, I mean, she was a medic in the military. I mean, yeah, she was a medic, but she still has military training and stuff. Like, she'll be fine. And it's just cutting to her just doing all these military like tactical moves and like just cutting people down.
Nice.
And the fact that she wasn't like a fucking super soldier, she was a medic. It means that she knows how to treat her own wounds and other people that get hurt and stuff too. It's a really well written show.
Yeah, I meant to check it out. It's just one of those things where there's my short list of TV shows to watch is like 400 TV shows, so it's almost impossible to circle back around to everything.
But yeah,
too much shit.
Anyways, that's my daily required Kate Beckinsale sales pitch to Jeff. Underworld, Jeff, that is coming. I want you to know 2025 is going to be the year of Underworld.
How have you not picked that yet?
Oh, it's coming. We're going to do all of them throughout 2025.
Are you just going to like for a period of like 4 months? Is this going to be you picking?
Oh no, I'm going to pepper them. I'm going to plan it out.
Okay.
There's some of them I've only seen once.
My history with that franchise is so weird. Saw the first one, saw the second one, didn't see the prequel one.
Dude, the prequel one's the one you would like the most.
That's what I've heard. I saw one of the sequels where Kate Beckinsale returned, but I don't know which one. I remember about 5% of those movies, if that.
I'm willing to bet you saw the fourth one then, because I think there's only 5 still, and the 5th one is fairly recent.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think I saw the first one she came back
I told you she has like a new John Wick show, and it says from the makers of John Wick. I would just like to point out, not only is she still smoking hot and still kicking ass, do you think at 51 years old you could be doing this stuff?
I can't do it now, dude.
Right? Like, good for her.
She's like one of the Gillian Anderson types to where she doesn't fucking age. It's crazy.
Yeah. And like 51 years old and she just had a John Wick movie. Like, good for her, man. Because I have a hard time getting out of bed and I'm not even 40 yet. I'm about to be 40.
Yeah, I went to the gym yesterday and feel like I'm gonna fucking die.
Rook move. Oh my god.
When in doubt, just don't go to the fucking gym, dummy.
Why would you do that to yourself? Eat pizza.
You're intentionally destroying your muscles, dude. That sounds like a fucking bad idea to me.
Muppet Christmas Carol. Good movie, good. Go watch.
Great movie, great. Go watch.
Great movie, great. Why haven't you watched?
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on it before we sign off? I'm kind of like giving you the floor again, just real quick.
Why would you do that? I just went on a tangent about Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, no more tangents. I'm talking about the actual fucking movie that's on the title of the podcast. You think there's a Kate Beckinsale
Precious Moments?
I mean, I'm sure you're Googling that right now to fact check it.
Let's see. I'm just getting pictures of Kate Beckinsale. which is not a bad thing. Okay. Thank you, Google. No, I'm not. That returns nothing. Sad.
You can't be that sad. You just were presented with a Google image search of Kate Beckinsale. So.
Oh my god. I don't remember what season it was in, but if you haven't introduced Aurora to Doctor Who yet, you should probably do it with that Christmas Carol episode.
I did show her one, the first introduction to it.
It wasn't Blink, was it?
I showed her the Van Gogh episode.
Okay,
that was the first one.
Yeah, that's a good emotional.
That
episode.
was what I found out. I hope they fixed it, but
is that what you were talking about?
Good God, HBO Max has something weird, and I don't know if it still is, but it was a thing for a period of time because when I Googled it, I found tons of people bitching about it on Twitter and Reddit. So what HBO did is, you know how like in Britain they have a different like frame rate for their TV shows?
Yeah, they do 50 hertz instead of 60.
Yeah, they do 50 hertz instead of 60. And they also have, I think it's like 1 frame difference on their standard. I think it's 25 frames per second instead of our 24.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some weird conversion to where when HBO did the upload, there is a like weird. Have you ever seen the TVs that have that like motion smoothing thing in effect where it looks like a soap opera and it looks awful?
I think.
You'll see it if you go to like a gym and you see like the TVs that haven't been dicked with, or if you go to like a family member's house and their TV hasn't been fixed and it's set up on the fucking default motion smoothing and it looks like ass. But yeah, they did something like that where they were trying to like account for the difference in frame rate and shit, and it was miserable. It kills me because I'm one of those people that's like, once I buy a new TV, first thing I have to do is like go fix all the fucking settings that are dicked around with the motion smoothing.
You know why they do that, right?
Yeah,
it has to be in some iteration of 60 hertz in the US and 50 hertz in Europe. So 25 frames divides evenly into 50 hertz, and over here 24 is a multiple of 60, right? 24, 48, and then 12 more is 60. So it's because it used to be a problem because our the electrical in your house, it runs at 60 hertz, and they were having issues. I think it was like a bunch of like static and a bunch of issues with the old CRT TVs displaying correctly because the power was running at 60 hertz. So they did the smart thing of, well, we'll just make it 24 hertz on the TV, and then that'll solve the problem. And it did. And then we stopped using CRTs and started using like LED panels and LCDs and plasmas and stuff. And now it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter in Europe anymore. Europe did the same thing for the same reason. But now we have these two systems that aren't really compatible that you can fucking see when you bring it over. It does the same thing in video games. If you go, if you have to go get like a European version of a game because something didn't come out in the US or something, it will run at 50 frames a second, not 60.
Yeah, and there was also like something they did with the I don't even know like how to like fully explain it, but like it almost looks like it's like sped up, where they like, because what they were doing for a long time is like they have good versions that work for us of Doctor Who, and they're on like the Blu-rays and shit that we could buy. Yeah. You know, like you'll buy the Blu-ray and it's the fixed version for us and it looks just fine.
I mean, it aired on American TV.
Yeah, the versions they were uploading to HBO Max for some of the seasons was this really janky kind of like wrong version that I think they were attempting to fix but made it even worse or something like that. Yeah, you'll find, if you Google it, you'll find Reddit threads, people like really bitching about it because like we watched that Van Gogh episode and I wanted to rip my eyeballs out. I'm sure Aurora didn't probably even notice, but like I'm a stickler for that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. It drove me insane to where like I don't even want to watch Doctor Who through again on there because I don't want to run into episodes that are unwatchable for me.
See, I didn't notice it. So
I think it's the later. I think it's some of the Matt Smith seasons specifically.
Well, we're not
because
there yet.
from what I heard, the first few seasons are fine, but eventually you'll get to the fucked up seasons if they haven't been fixed yet. Which, knowing HBO, they probably have not been fixed yet.
Yeah, we've been showing it to the kids. We haven't watched Doctor Who in a few years. We're like, I think the kids are old enough to handle it now. I mean, it's a family show. It scares the shit out of Haley. She can't handle it. Nathan's all fucking about it, and he's making Dalek Legos, and he made a Lego TARDIS the other day. He's writing about Doctor Who in his papers at school, and he's drawing Daleks and stuff at school. So he's all about it. He fucking loves Doctor Who.
Doctor Who is cool for kids too, because you'll legitimately learn more about history and shit. Like, it's actually educational to an extent.
As much as fiction can be, yeah. It's pretty good. So
yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. You'll have to let me know if you get through the Matt Smith seasons and everything looks okay, and then I can rest, because I was so mad when I watched that episode. I was like, what did you fucking do? It's not even like it's an obscure show on HBO Max. It's fucking Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Go fix your fucking seasons of Doctor fucking Who, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't.
Like, maybe spend some less time canceling fucking movies for a fucking tax break and go fix your uploaded seasons of Doctor Who on Max, dude.
I don't get why the streaming platforms cannot switch resolutions and frame rates. I don't understand why it's a problem. Our panels, our TVs and monitors can handle different frame rates now. Even if it was 50 hertz, why can't you just put it out in 50 hertz and let my TV switch itself to it? Like, YouTube and Twitch do that. I can switch frame rates and resolutions at will on Twitch and YouTube. But like Netflix or Amazon or HBO, you're totally dependent on what they provide for you.
It's stupid.
It's really ridiculous. If YouTube, if Twitch can fucking do it, why can't HBO?
Yeah, it's dumb. I hope they provide more options for that type of shit in the future, so that doesn't happen, especially for something as like recognizable as an IP as Doctor Who. And, you know, like, if it was some obscure thing, it's like, yeah, I understand, you know, like, it's whatever, but come on, man.
It's Doctor Who.
It's Doctor Who. Fix your fucking uploads. But
this is what our green room sounds like, people.
I like how this was the Muppet Christmas Carol review, and then it ended up just being like Boomer's memory lane, talking about shopping trends of popular shit that were like pop culture phenomenons for the 90s.
I don't know.
And then it was Boomer's arguing about, or being angry about frame rates of shit that's not fixed on HBO Max.
I don't know about you, Jeff, but I think there was some pretty precious moments in this episode.
I think that's a good point. Maybe a little bit towards the end, you know. I don't know. If you would like to follow the show more, and why would you not, as we always say, it's fucking God bless us, everyone. Go fucking follow at SPR Filmcast on Twitter.
Dude, some of these also precious moments are like $60. That's too much.
Ronnie, you just stop. Exit the tab.
It's too fucking much, man.
That is crazy, though. Any ratings or reviews on whichever platform you happen to find us on always helps us out.
There's a Rapunzel.
If you know a friend that you think might enjoy our podcast, you can always share it out. And if you found us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Ron is now showing me the precious moments Anna Elsa combo, and that's pretty precious. I will give you that.
It's pretty precious, and it's accurate. That is Queen Anna.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touched on everything, though. Ron, would you like to know what we're covering next time? It's probably not going to be that big of a surprise.
I forgot that's how this show works. Yes. What are we covering?
I already told everyone like last month what was happening, but we're gonna cover Nosferatu because it's coming out in a couple of days. So the next episode.
Oh shit! It is. I keep forgetting that's happening like at the end of December after Christmas.
It's on Christmas Day.
Why is it on Christmas?
That's all I wanted.
Is it secretly a Christmas movie?
Maybe. It's just Nosferatu just viciously murdering Santa.
I have heard, what's that David Harbour one?
Silent Night,
Something like that. I've heard that that's
Deadly Night. It's a Deadly Night.
I don't know. It's something like that. I've heard it's pretty good, actually.
I've heard it's good too. We need to cover that.
I heard
Violent Night. Violent Night. That's what it is.
I've heard if you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then it's the perfect movie for you because it's just Die Hard but Christmas.
Yeah, we need to cover that. I've been wanting to watch that for a while. I just forget about it.
Yeah, I forget about it too.
But yeah,
we got
we got to go to the theater, dude. We got to go watch Nosferatu. I'm probably gonna see it before you and I go together because I might be going like on Christmas by myself to go watch Nosferatu.
What, Aurora won't go with you?
She doesn't do horror movies. She can't watch it. So will I go on Christmas Day by myself to watch Nosferatu? You're goddamn fucking right. I'm gonna go watch Nosferatu.
Yeah, you go do that. She can come play Bluey Monopoly with us.
Yeah, there you go. You guys said Blue Monopoly? That's cool. I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah. You didn't know that that's what's happening next time you guys come over?
We're playing Blue Monopoly?
Yeah, we sent her a picture of it a long time ago because we've been playing it with the kids.
I didn't see a picture of this shit. Why did I get a picture of this shit?
She was like, oh my God. And I think Chris was like, we should totally play this and you come over. And she's like, yes, we are. And then that was like months ago.
Why didn't I get a fucking pic? I love Bluey. Why did I get a picture of the fucking Blue Monopoly board? I'm mad now.
Hey, you want to go off on another tangent before we sign off?
How long is this tangent going to be?
Just that Disney's folding in Bluey. So Bluey's going to be at Disney World and Disneyland, all the parks.
Of course it is.
And in 2027, we get Bluey, the feature film from Disney.
I heard about that, but I don't know what they're doing because like those kids, I don't think can do the voices anymore because they've grown up. So like, is it future kids with like Bluey and Bingo as the parents? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got to do something though.
They'll figure it out. It's Disney.
Yeah. It's too popular of an IP to just let fizzle out. You know, people love it too much.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Nosferatu, dude, it's happening. Edgar is one of those guys where it's like it's a holiday when his new movie comes out. So like I'm always bad about fucking procrastinating and like not getting around to watching shit I want to, but if it's an Edgar's thing or like a new like Ari Aster movie, like I'm gonna go check it out. Fucking ASAP. So
Gary and Cole over on Duckfeed TV, I was listening to them the other day, and they were talking about Nosferatu, and Gary was just like, "I'm so excited for vampires to be scary again."
Oh my god, dude! They've also, I don't think you watched any of the teasers or any of the trailers.
No, I was already going to see it, so there was no point in me spoiling anything.
I watched the first like teaser for it, and they didn't show jack shit, so I don't even know like what I'm in for. And I'm
that means excited. Eggers had control of the trailer, probably.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have seen everything.
Yeah, which is a good thing because like the man's made like 3 movies and he's a genius. So like, give him fucking control of the trailers, please.
Yes, please.
Come on, man. Have you seen The Lighthouse?
Oh my god,
you're fond of me, Lobster. I know you
are. Jeff, if I had a Muppet, I'd fuck it.
And on that note. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
What a fucking schizophrenic episode that ended up being.
Yeah, it was pretty concentrated for a while, and then it just wasn't.